So, going to talk about some backpacking meal recipes. I've been trying out different things and trying to find stuff that we can sort of buy in bulk, so we're not buying, the little foil packs. And it's going to taste good and something we can easily make on the trail. So I've got my tin cup here. This is my Snow Peak cup. You can see I got a little bit of burn on there. And I got a couple things here that I've been trying. So I bought this Harmony House vegetable soup mix, and it's just sort of like a mix of dried vegetables. Looks like it's going to keep forever. It's great. Bought a bunch of this couscous, just the plain couscous. Near East, you can get this in bulk as well. And then I bought a big tin of this Mountain House ground beef. Now, interestingly with this, I thought this was a great idea buying the big tin. Then I get it and it says once you open it, you can only keep it a week. I've been keeping it in the fridge. It's now been like 2 or 3 weeks. We're planning a big trip in a couple weeks, so I'm hoping it's going to make it. But these are like just little ground beef chunks. So I've been trying out this recipe, and I think I've got something that like really works well. So the first thing is need some water. So I'm starting off with on this one. I start off with it about like 2/3 to 3/4 full there. Get the stove on. Oops, the stove went off. And the trick here is the vegetables. They tend to kind of take a while to cook. So what I've been doing is I've been adding like a big bunch of this stuff right up front, so it can kind of cook as the water is getting onto a boil. So I'm adding about 1/4 cup or so of these veggies. And you can see there's like, some peas in there, carrots, onions, peppers, that sort of thing. And then I just give it a stir in there just to kind of wet it down. And you can see that kind of wets down and starts soaking. So I'm just doing this on my electric stove, but I've been doing these, trying them out on that. I got the stove cranked, so we're gonna get that sucker boiling. So what I'm gonna do then is once it boils, I'm gonna add about 1/4 to 1/3 of this box, because this stuff puffs up like big time. And I'm also going to add like about 1/4 cup of the ground beef. Now, what I got in here, what I find is this is great, but it's like really bland. So I've been working on a little spice mix here. So I got a little container here. I'm planning on taking that with us. What I got in here is I've got garlic salt, I got fresh ground pepper, and I've got oregano, and I've also got a little bit of dried parsley as well. And I just mixed all that together and I put it in here, so I've just got a little bit in here because I'm testing it out. Oh, and also a little bit of garlic powder as well, because I found the garlic salt was just a little bit too salty. So kind of mix that in, and then I'm going to make a bunch of this stuff. You need a fair bit to give this stuff some flavor, so you'll see I'm going to dump some of that in at some point. So right now, we got the pot heating up. Just going to give that a bit of a stir. We got those vegetables starting to hydrate, which is great. Just going to get this open so that when the time comes, you'll see if you get these plain ones, it doesn't have any like flavor pack or anything. It's just like the box like that. So I think this is going to be like really good for carrying. It's pretty compact here. Probably have to put that in probably put it in a Ziploc bag. And the nice thing is it's like cardboard, so there's not like a lot of waste there. Trying to be aware of the waste and stuff. And that's why I bought the big can of that stuff. You can also get this in the little like foil packs as well. But again, we're trying to cut down on our waste, and in particular our plastic waste. So looking at reuse, reduce, reuse, recycle. So this is about reducing. And this thing, that's going to last us a fair long time, and we'll be able to reuse that container. So I didn't mind that. The tin can, it's a can, so it's a little bit more recyclable. Just let this boil, and as I say, I think this is something that's nice. Now the thing with these little titanium cups here, they're great, but you do not want to cook in them. It's really thin on the bottom and it burns. You can see I burned, that was some porridge I tried heating up. So you just want to be really careful about putting too much stuff in there. Luckily these vegetables kind of, I'll say, float a little bit, so I'm not too worried about burning them on the bottom. But once you get stuff in there, you want to turn the heat off and let it simmer, because these things, they burn really easily on the bottom of them. Just keep that in mind, is that the titanium, they're great, but they're like for heating water. And that's kind of that's kind of all you want to do with them is heat water. You don't want to be like cooking in them because they're gonna just burn like crazy. Okay, so we're like almost ready there. Got my lid ready to go. So that once that boils and I get everything in there, it's you get the lid on there and get it. We'll get it just sitting and simmering. So you can hear it. It's coming. I just got to watch my stove here because once it starts boiling, it boils over pretty quick. So I got my vegetables in there. Got my ground beef ready to go, and I got some couscous ready to go. I'm gonna just pop the lid off of this because, as I say, once things start happening, yeah, you can see this stuff. It doesn't look very appetizing, but it's actually not too bad. It's just like little chunks of ground beef that have been cooked. They're kind of bland as they are, so you need to add stuff, but they taste like ground beef, like little chunks of cooked ground beef. So they're pretty good. You can get a big can of them, or you can get them in little packs. Let's get that ready to go. Okay, I'm gonna give this just a bit of a stir here. You can see that starting to heat up. Let's see, I gotta just watch my stove here because I got it cranked up here. Now I'm just doing this on my kitchen stove, but you could do this on a camp stove. I just don't want to waste the fuel. But I am using my pot so I can get kind of the idea of the amounts. Thinking of jokes about watching water boil. It's going to boil pretty soon here. I can see it starting to get going. You do definitely want to bring it up to like a proper boil because you want that stuff to you need that to really hydrate these dried things. You really do need it rapidly boiling, not just warm. Okay, give it another stir here. Let's see. I could probably put the lid on and probably boil a little bit quicker, but seem to be doing okay. You can see those vegetables are starting to kind of like hydrate up a little bit. They're not looking quite as crispy. And that's a nice, really nice little soup mix they got there. Nice mix of veggies. So you can kind of, won't say get fresh vegetables, but at least you're getting greens on the trail, and that's, okay, how are we doing there? Just starting to boil, I might have got like a little bit, my quantities might be a little bit too much here. I might have put a little bit too much water and too much veggies here. But you can see that's starting to puff up nice. And we definitely have boiling, so I'm going to just turn this down to a simmer. Okay, so what I like to do is add the ground beef next. So let's say about a 1/4 cup or so of ground beef. Ouch! Watch it, that's sharp there. I'm going to stir that in just to make sure it all gets kind of wet down. And then I'm going to pour a little bit of the couscous again. Probably going about a 1/4 cup there, about there. That looks kind of about right. And stir that in, and you're going to see this is going to thicken up pretty quick once you get the couscous in there. And at that point, just put the lid on, and I'm going to just turn it off here. Now, you want to wait. Oh, I know what I forgot. I forgot my spice mix. So I'm going to put in about 1/2 teaspoon of that, something like that. And give that a good mix in, because otherwise, as I say, it's kind of bland. Okay, good mix in, lid on, turned off, and now you just want to leave it be and let it be for 15 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes. About 15 minutes later, I've been letting this sit here. By the way, when you open those things, be careful. I just sliced my thumb open, but it seems to be okay now. There we go, take the lid off. And you can see it's all nicely fluffed up here and ready to eat. So you can see if you look all the way down, it's it's the moisture is fully absorbed in there, and you got a nice little mix of veggies, couscous, a little bit of ground beef. Let's give it a try. It's hot. Probably could have used a little bit more of the spice mixes. As I say, these 3 things don't have any spice in them. They're pretty bland, so you got to make sure you add a fair bit of salt and spice. But that's really filling, and you can see it was like really easy to make. You know, you got to boil water and then 10 to 15 minutes just letting it sit. Puffs up really nice, and that's going to fill you up really well on the trail. So, Big Cheese for Big Cheese Adventures here on cooking for the trail and trying to find ways of reducing our waste and not using the ready-to-eat foil pack things. You know, as I say, I think we can put all this stuff in Ziploc bags that we can reuse and have that all on the trail for us, and it's going to take up hardly any space, and it's really delicious, really good food. All right, thanks again. Join us for Big Cheese Adventures. Subscribe. We've got some other playlists here, so case you're wondering, we're getting ready to do a backpack trip with the kids, and there's going to be more of that coming. Big Cheese for Big Cheese Adventures.